every institution in the world has been suborned partly by woke culture, but partly by what you and I recognize as the forces that really run the world. You might call them the powers that be. That there are higher entities which are hell-bent, and I use that phrase quite deliberately, on destroying everything of value in our culture, everything that we hold dear, because they despise us. And this process of attrition has been going on for decades, if not centuries, but now we are really witnessing it in excelsis. It's just accelerated, it's intensified. Would you agree with that?
100%. And it can also be described, this cult, this Babylonian nefarious cult of evildoers, it does have a name. Name is the Sabbatean-Frankists. The Sabbatean-Frankists were founded by Sabbatai Zivi in 1666. Sabbatai Zivi was a man who proclaimed that he was the foretold Jewish Messiah, only that his reign over the Jews, as he described, was entirely predicated on his conviction and that of his disciples, that the purpose of his life was to bring about an inversion of good and evil. In other words, to turn evil into good and good into evil, so that no one can tell the difference anymore. And in his mad ramblings, he dictated that everybody must follow this creed, to use deception or inversion against all their enemies, and all of their enemies constituted everybody who wasn't in the cult. Now, the reason I know this is because prior to 1981, there was an awful lot of material around on this subject, because it links directly to the Rothschild cartel, because there is much evidence around to say that the Rothschilds are the same bloodline as Sabbatai Zivi. And another man who lived in the 18th century called Jacob Frank in Frankfurt. Now, Jacob Frank in Frankfurt was one of the three people, along with Amschel Rothschild and the Adam Weishaupt. They founded the Bavarian Illuminati around about 1770. Now, when this happened, it was a complete secret. And what they did was they created a pact, and the pact was that they would take control of every surviving royal bloodline and every one of the major religions, and they would take control from within in order to subvert it according to Sabbatai Zivi's doctrine. And to hide Sabbatai Zivi, they started calling it Frankism. And that's what it became known as. And then it developed into the Frankfurt School. What did the Frankfurt School invent? Every leftist ideology, every rightist ideology, and they created the false left-right paradigm. Because the truth is, fascism and communism are virtually identical. But they have one thing above all others in common, and that is that the bankers' power remains in place, but is used more aggressively. That's the major difference. Planned economy, complete control of everyone's lives.